Okay, welcome back everyone to the Retrieval Practice YouTube channel. We're just going to do a very quick video on retrieval clocks and how they work. So the idea of a retrieval clock is that it's something used in a very similar way to a mind map, and it's used to house all the information you need to remember for an entire topic. Okay, so what might that look like? So here's an example of a retrieval clock. You can see the clock in the middle, and it's been divided into 12 sections, hence retrieval clock. Now, this is for history. The topic is crime and punishment. Now, this is a good retrieval clock in some senses because this person has gone to great lengths to ensure that they've got everything they need for each section for the topic of crime and punishment. Now, that's great because it's convenient. It makes sure everything is there in one location for an entire topic. So well done. It's also color coded for each subsection, and I always encourage color coding because it does make retrieval more likely and slightly easier. So those are the positives. The negatives are that it's tons and tons of writing, and in order to check whether you've actually managed to successfully retrieve all this information, however you do that, you're going to have to reread through all of this information each time to check you got everything. That's going to take you a long time to do. So in some senses, in some quite important senses, this is not a good version of a retrieval clock. Okay. Here's another one. Some strong positives. Those diagrams are amazing. They're very memorable. They're exceptionally clear. But some really, really strong negatives. Ultimately, there's not very much information on that retrieval clock. And those diagrams would have taken an awfully long time to put together. I would say this has not been a good use of time overall if this is the type of retrieval clock you produce. Okay, a nice compromise is here. Great use of color diagrams. That is combined with keywords that are in bold, and that is subsequently combined with short, factual bullet points. Those three things combined make a highly effective retrieval clock. The only thing that's missing is the color coding for each section in terms of the writing that's there. But that ultimately is what you want to be aiming for. Now, in terms of how to use a retrieval clock, or sorry, how to construct a retrieval clock. The rules are exactly the same for mind maps. The emphasis is on diagrams and drawings, combined with keywords, and that is known as dual coding, as you hopefully already know, because it gives our brain multiple opportunities to latch on to the information that's in front of us and to store it in our long-term memory. Okay, I'll let you reread the rest of that at your leisure. Now, how do you actually use a retrieval clock? Well, the process is very similar for mind maps as it is for retrieval clocks. Step one, get your retrieval clock, have a quick cursory glance at it to refresh your memory, then put it face down. Walk around your room without looking at that mind map, sorry, at that retrieval clock, and you say out loud what you can remember for each section. Saying it out loud is critical because it avoids the illusion of fluency. If you're just going to do it in your head, that's not a good use of time. It's easy to fool yourself that you know it. You've got to say it out loud. Okay, once you're finished, turn that retrieval clock over. What did you successfully retrieve? What did you not successfully retrieve? Now, maybe you've done this process 3 or 4 times now. So it may well be you've got to the point where, yes, you did successfully retrieve everything on that retrieval clock. Well done. File it away with a note to revise it again in 2 weeks' time. That's great. You've got time for another retrieval clock on the same or different subject now. Now, if this is perhaps your first go through or your second go through, there might, like most people, you're not going to have successfully retrieved absolutely everything on that retrieval clock. And that is fine. This is still a very useful thing to do. So what do? You write out all those things that you forgot, you highlight them in the color coding that you've used on your retrieval clock if you've used a color coding scheme. And then critically, you read them out loud multiple times. It must be out loud and it must be multiple times. And then you revisit this whole process again, perhaps the next day or maybe 2 days later, or at most on the following weekend. Okay, but it's got to be done relatively soon to promote that consolidation. Okay, so that's how to use retrieval clocks. There's a template for you if you want it. Good luck, enjoy, and well done.